Well, hey everyone, thanks for joining me for another video today. Spring is ramping up here where I'm at, finally looking like we have a little bit of nicer weather coming in. So for some of you a little bit south of me, you've been going for a little while. For some of you a little bit north of me, you haven't even seen the grass yet because you've had so much snow and crazy things happening this year. But this year I wanted to make a video kind of explaining my different lawn plans for the year. When I started this whole thing, I was kind of taking care of the yard in the same way, but as things have progressed, as I've gotten more crazy, as I've gotten more into lawn care and doing different things, we have different sections of the yard now that are kind of treated a little bit differently. So I want to show you the different things going on here so that you can kind of maybe follow along with what you want to do in your yard, and I'll be able to show you that over the course of this season. First thing that I have to mention for those that are new is that I have a cool season lawn. And so for those of you that are in the south, you're most likely going to have a warm season lawn. In the middle part of the country, we call that the transition zone, where you could have cool. You might have fescue as a cool season lawn, or you might have a warm season lawn. So typically with warm season grass, you're doing your fertilizing actually during the warmer part of the season. That's what the grass likes the most. For us here in the cool season zones, we're doing all of our main work in the fall, but some in the spring as well. So in that cooler season, once it gets to the middle of the season here with our summer, the cool season grass doesn't really like that too much. We can get it to survive through that, but then we get to the fall time, and that's when we really start to thrive again, and when most of our cool season grasses take all of their fertilizers in and kind of get going for the next year. So I wanted to show you my yard here in the different zones that I'm kind of working on and different projects that I'm doing in each of those sections. So we have a drone shot here of my property so you can get a look at everything that we're doing. And I haven't went and measured out everything since I've done some different landscaping and changed my shed around. And so today I'm going to go out first, measure off all the sections of my yard and write all those down so that we also can give you an idea of how big these sections are in my yard so you can kind of compare to yours, or just get an idea in general of how much I'm dealing with here, because I don't believe I've shown that for quite a while of how much square footage I actually have. So that's a pretty easy process there. You just go out and measure all your sections with a tape measure, length by width, multiply those together. That will give you your square footage. I went ahead and bought one of these long tape measures. This thing is 100 feet. I just went to Home Depot and bought one. There's nothing wrong with using a regular tape measure. I've done that method before, but since I have some bigger stretches here, it's just so much easier to have something I can stretch out and that I don't have to measure off 25 feet and then put a marker there, 25 feet, put a marker there. This is a 100-foot tape measure. You can get them even bigger than that if you want, if you have a really large yard, but 100 feet will do it for me. I'm gonna go out now, figure out all my sections and mark them down so that I can show you how much square footage I have. Alright, so let's talk about what numbers I came up with then for the measurements, and I got a little notebook in front of me here, so I'm going to be looking down at that to kind of go over my notes here. But when you're measuring, just get somewhat close. You don't have to be right on or half inches or anything like that, but somewhere close, and rounding it off is fine. So if we look at my backyard section, inside of the fence there, I have a 68 feet along the back fence line, and then 52 along the fence line there that has the garden. So we multiply those together and I get 35, 36. So what I'm going to do at this point, just for even numbers and in my head to make it easy when I'm thinking about what I'm going to apply, I'm going to be looking at just 3,500 there and making it an easy round number. So do that throughout the whole yard. What I'm dealing with here then is 3,500 inside the fence. There's a little section there right on the back side of the shed that I also included in this back, so add 250 square feet there. Adding all the back then together, both inside and outside the fence, I come up with a total of 5,750. Then our side yard comes out to 1,000 square feet, pretty much right on the dot there, very, very close to 1,000. And on that front yard as well, including the little section out by the street and also the north side of my house there, that's kind of what I all consider the whole front yard. And so with that section there, I come up with 2,700. So add those all together and we come up with a total of 9,450, or if we wanted to round that off in our head and just make it a pretty even number there for my yard, I'm looking at 10,000 square feet total. Alright, so now let's talk about my plan for the year and what I'm going to do with these different sections of my yard. So back in the backyard there, Inside of the fence is what I have basically tried to keep this as a quote normal section so that I can show most people on these videos if you want to do some pretty minimal inputs on your yard that you can get some great results. You can follow a few different things, you can fertilize at the right times, and it really comes down to the fertilizing, the mowing, and if you want to keep irrigation going in the summer to try to keep that going, you can. Last summer I actually let the bluegrass completely go dormant, and I did that for a specific reason, to really test it and see how resilient it would be coming back, and in the fall it did a great job of coming back there. But so inside that fence, if you're following along, you're new this year, that's what I'm going to be doing for kind of the normal cut, normal height, just using regular inputs there and nothing too crazy. Now I am going to add a few simple lawn products in there this year, some spray things. Those are going to be kind of optional for you, whether you want to go a little bit farther with a few extra boost kind of products in there. Otherwise, just follow along with this section and I'll show you, if you have a cool season lawn, kind of when to apply, and it'll let you pick what you want to apply, how much you want to spend on it, and this is going to be kind of the normal section of the yard. Now back behind the fence, we're probably going to be doing similar things there as inside the fence, but I'm going to kind of leave this section as a whatever I feel like doing. Maybe I'll test some things during the year, maybe I'll decide to throw down this one day or that. I'm just going to leave that section as kind of a test area. In the front and side yard is where I have my low cut turf, and I'm going to plan to keep that at 3/4 of an inch for the year. Maybe go down to a 1/2 inch ideally in the fall time, but I need to do some leveling. So the front yard I did last fall, and it got a little bit late into the season, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet, if I'm going to try to overseed some things or if I might wait until the fall time. And I honestly am thinking about doing a full renovation again. I know some of you are going to be shaking your head at that one, but a big announcement for me is I'm putting in an irrigation system in the front and side yard section. The backyard, we have some landscaping things that we'd like to do yet and change a few things back there, so I don't want to put in a full system and then 6 months from now change everything, have to dig things up and move it again. So I'm waiting on the back section, but in the front and the side yard I am putting in irrigation here very soon. So with that, I could probably pretty easily do another renovation this fall. I'm thinking about working on leveling this year during the season and then maybe doing the renovation. I like to change my mind on a lot of things, but just know if you are interested in the low cut turf and how that's going to be taken care of fertilizer wise, it's going to kind of be more of on like a golf course program where I'll be spraying fertilizers, doing things more often, watching things very closely, and basically going out every day and taking a look at what's going on, what might need to be improved. I'm certainly not a trained expert in the low cut turf. I'm just wanting to learn. I find it fascinating, and really it's just kind of an addiction for me at this point, so I'm going to keep doing it because I love it. And for those of you that just want to see that, cool. For those of you that are more interested in the normal inputs with the backyard, that stuff is coming very soon as well and throughout the season. So I hope this gives you some information on what I'm doing with my lawn this year, and following along with different sections, you can kind of see what you might want to do. So if you have any comments or questions, please let me know. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.